last thing any published author wants is for their book not to sell, for sales to flop, right? Whether you're self-published or published traditionally, your goal is to get your book in the hands of readers. And whether you self-publish or have a publisher, a lot of the marketing is likely to fall to you. So how do you as the author help boost sales? By building an audience. And this is something that you can work on as early as you want to, even before your book hits the market. Today, I'm going to give you 5 ideas to help you build an audience for your writing. Let's go. One of the biggest things that surprised me, something I actually had no idea about before I was published, was that I was really going to be responsible for doing a lot of my own marketing. You know, I had figured, I don't know, I'd signed with one of the big 5 publishing houses, like they'll probably just do all of the marketing for me. Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, of course, my publisher marketed my book, but what I didn't realize is that a publisher's marketing isn't mostly directed at readers so much as it is at booksellers. That's their consumer. Their consumer is Barnes & Noble, not your aunt or your college classmate who loves reading. Marketing to readers is something that an author is going to do more of. Now, since I didn't get a marketing degree in college and I didn't have any previous experience on building an audience, I had no idea what to do. I mean, I had my friends and family who very much supported me, just like you do. I mean, who I was already pretty sure were going to buy my book, or at least pretend to. Definitely a couple of those like, yeah, I bought it, great cover. You know if they're complimenting your cover that they never read your book. So we all have those wonderful folks, but let's talk about how to reach people who don't share your last name. Okay, tip number 1 is to choose a social media platform that you like and become a good citizen there. All right, if you are not a social media person, don't worry. There are other ways you can build an audience. But for now, let's visit this idea. Engaging on social media can be an effective way to build your audience. But here's the key. You have to engage. And that's what I mean by be a good citizen. You can't just show up and post things promoting yourself, then occasionally like or comment on someone else's post. That would be like someone who shows up to your house, only ever talks about themselves, and then occasionally nods as you say one thing about yourself, right? You also want to be doing this probably more than once a day. You know, you're an active member of a community, and you are reciprocating by engaging in other people's content. When you do this, it's more likely that people are going to give back what you are giving. They are going to reciprocate what you are offering. One of the writers I work with became really active on Twitter. She loved Twitter, and because she loved it so much, she was super active there. In under 3 months, she grew her following to 8,000, and she did this by posing questions and engaging and using hashtags related to writing topics. She's now an extremely active member of the writing community on Twitter, and it's because she cares about that community and she contributes to it. The biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this is to find what you're comfortable using and what you like using and focus your efforts there. And if you're not into social media, don't do it. You don't need to do it, and you aren't going to be good at it if you don't like it. So it's a waste of your time, and you're just gonna be making yourself miserable. Okay, strategy number 2 is to blog, because no, blogging is not dead. You love to write, right? That's why you're watching these videos. You want to learn how to build an audience for your writing. And a blog is a great way to do this. And since you already know how to write, it's not like you'll have to be learning all of these new tricks. Now, you may be thinking, isn't blogging super 90s? No, it's not. It's very much alive. And if you're also thinking, but I don't know how to create a blog or what to write, well, here's the good news. First, it's not that hard. There are many free and easy platforms out there just walking you through how to set one up. You can, make it as basic or intricate as you like. You can design it to fit you. And if you get stuck, there's always a contact us or, frequently asked questions section that you can access for help. And when in doubt, just do a YouTube search. There are so many free videos to help guide you when you're troubleshooting tech stuff. As for what to write about, there are 2 things I'd keep in mind. 1, what are you obsessed with? And 2, what would the people who will read your one-day book want to read about? Now, this part is largely common sense, but if your book is a fantasy novel, don't make a blog about fashion, even if you love fashion. Make it about fantasy novels, or maybe novels you're loving, or book recommendations or reviews, things that people who love reading fantasy novels would read. If your book is a novel about a chef, though, and you're obsessed with cooking, great, start a cooking blog. That's certainly enough overlap. So those are the things. What are you obsessed with? And what are the people who are going to read your one-day book wanting to read now? Now, this last part is really important. If you do make a blog, make sure to include a place for people to sign up to receive email updates from you. This is called building a list, meaning an email list. And it's going to be really valuable later when you're promoting your book. And all blog platforms have a way to add this to your blog. Strategy number 3 is to join a professional writers organization. If you're not familiar with all the writing organizations out there, just do a search. You will be amazed at how many you can join, and most of them for free. They can be specific to the genre you're writing, or as broad as an international organization, for any and all writers. But find a few that look interesting to you, and then sign up. Because once you sign up, you'll have access to the forums, and it's here that you can meet and chat with other writers. Even though this is all virtual, you can still build relationships with other writers and readers, and in this way begin to organically start promoting your work and building your platform via relationships with other readers and writers. Just to give you a few examples, Savvy Authors, which is free, the Women's Fiction Writing Association, that has a small yearly fee, the Authors Guild also has a fee. There are numerous others that are specific to genre as well, like the Historical Fiction Society, the Mystery Writers of America, the Romance Writers of America, and more. Many of these organizations also hold conferences, both in person and online. And these conferences are just a great way to meet others, to network and help build your writing community. Before I share with you my last 2 ideas to help you build your audience, a quick invitation. I have a free private group for writers working on books, where once a month I host a live event where I plan out the first third of a new novel from scratch. It's super fun, it's improv, it meets novel writing. You will learn by watching and participating. And you can join this event, 30,000 words in 30 minutes, watch Mary plan the first third of a novel from scratch, at the link below this video. All right, on to the last 2 ideas. All right, my 4th idea for you is to go on a book club tour. Now, this one will obviously need to come after you have published your book, but this is an idea I didn't have until my 3rd novel. We often tend to think about book tours as stops at bookstores. Like traditionally that's what they've been, right? An author goes on a book tour. But you can also do virtual stops at book clubs. There are so many book clubs out there that love to have authors visit. I did a bunch for my novel Palm Beach. I just put it out there on social media that I was doing a book club tour, and I emailed it to my email list, told my friends and family. I said, I'm up for visiting your book club. And I made it really easy to invite me, which they did. And then we would pick a date and boom. Suddenly, it's not just your aunt buying your book, but all 13 women in her book club. You show up on Zoom and have a great chat for 45 minutes while you all sip coffee or wine on a Tuesday evening. It's delightful. I loved doing it, and it's something I will 100% do again. And the final strategy for building an audience, number 5, is to write and publish an essay, a guest blog post, or a book review. One of the best ways to get your name out there is to write something else that's not your book. Write an essay, an op-ed, a book review, a guest blog post, whatever it is, something publishable on a platform that is not your own website. Now, this strategy is also one that you don't have to have already published a book for it to be helpful. This is a great way to get a publication credit and also for people to start becoming interested in you and your writing. In fact, I have known a number of writers who haven't had to query literary agents because their agent has found them through an essay that they published. Now, I don't have time to get into it in this video, but you can find good information on how to do this, how to publish an essay or op-ed or guest post simply by Googling. And believe it or not, most personal essays and op-eds that are published are written by people who are not only not professional writers, but often people who don't even have writing credits yet. As for how to submit to these newspapers or websites, well, all of them, all publications, put somewhere on their site how to submit your writing to them. So if others can do it, you can do it. Publishing a short piece somewhere is also a good way to reach people with your writing. That doesn't have to take over a huge chunk of your life. Yes, you'll have to spend a few hours, but you aren't going to have to spend the hundreds of hours that you'll spend, say, building a following on a social media platform like Twitter. All right, if you're still with me, I'm guessing you're writing a book or want to write a book. And if so, I have something for you. A few years ago, I created the 4 notebooks method, which is my process for handwriting a novel across 4 notebooks. This method is my strategy for mapping out your story structure in a way that doesn't lock you into an outline or suck all the freedom and fun out of writing. If you'd like to learn this method and get a free digital template for writing your novel, go to the link below this video. To get the template, you just have to apply for my program, the Book Incubator. It's 2 questions, it takes less than 5 minutes, and you'll get the template right away, whether you join or not. There's no pressure to enroll. So just tell me a little bit about you and your book or your book idea. I'm so excited to hear from you.